Welcome back. We got back last month from, which is May of 2025, from the Everest Base Camp Gokyo trek. We did Gokyo due to bad weather and stuff like that. We did not do the EBC part. But and also a lot of us were carrying some sort of recent injuries because of which our pace was slower. This we were worried about earlier, but it turned out to be brilliant for us because of that. We did a lot of stuff we would not have been able to do otherwise. We saw so much more, which this video is all about. That previous trips we haven't come nowhere close to seeing as much as we saw on this trip, and how much we enjoyed because you were not so tired when you reached your destinations each day. It was brilliant. It was really brilliant. I would suggest it to everyone. Um, Slow down. It helps with your altitude problems also, and you get to see lots. Two of us on this trip, my friend Asta and I, were both wildlife buffs. We love looking for new birds and wildlife, animals. So we were on the lookout right through, and we saw a lot. We saw a lot more than we expected to. Animals, especially, and birds. A lot of birds I'd never seen before. So yeah, it was a great thing. And this video is a collection of what all we saw on this trek. So I hope you enjoy it as much too.
There.
नहीं यार, this is
नहीं यार yak नहीं है वो.
yeah,
This is not a yak.
no, not at all.
अरे यार ये something.
Huge.
Oh यार you can't move that slow.
Don't laugh. Until then, that the only large animals that we had seen were only yaks. So we can be forgiven from a distance to think this was another one. This is incredible. I mean, I have not seen any videos or anything up from this EBC route that anyone has put up of. I had no idea that there were martens, yellow-throated martens that could be seen on this route. So I was fascinated when we saw this at Fatping. And that too, Asta, my friend, noticed them from the loo and excitedly called out saying, "Look outside, yellow-throated martens." This was amazing. That too, three of them. You normally see them in pairs. So this is obviously one of them, although they look the same size. One of them is obviously a juvenile, the baby of the family.
Firetail यार.
It is firetail.
This is firetail.
Firetail sunbird. I
Got
mean,
it?
the last time I saw this beautiful bird was
Man क्या मस्त
in
bird
this
है.
plumage was back in 1997 in Corbett. That too shown to me by the most unlikely forest guard. At Kangjuma, when we reached, it was raining. It was not the perfect weather, but we weren't tired. So Asa and I decided to step out again for some bird watching and just generally exploring after lunch. And these white-collared blackbirds, they really gave us a treat. I mean, I had seen one long back, I think in the northeast of India, but this sighting, what they really spoiled us. It was worth having stepped out in the rain, and it was amazing to see them. When we were climbing up from Fositanga to Mongla, you passed this forest checkpost in between, and forest checkpost for the national park, and he said, okay, let's see, maybe we expect to see a few more birds and stuff like that, but I never expected to see this musk deer. It was such a treat. It was amazing. I had been only dreaming of seeing a musk deer in this area, but this was a dream come true for me. At Mongla, it was one of the most fascinating places. I mean, we saw so many birds, including these black-faced laughing thrush. We also saw a spotted laughing thrush. Unfortunately, we didn't manage to get any video or photo of that. It was a beautiful bird. But Mongla it rocks as far as wildlife and birds are concerned. These guys were such a treat. Pretty colors. After our distant sighting of the first Himalayan tar that we saw, this guy was he was right in front of us, so there was no mistaking what it was. And wow, you really, when you're that close to them, you realize just how big they are, and wow, what a coat blowing in the wind. It was like a dream sighting. We had our first proper snowfall at Machermo, and in the morning, just as we were leaving, these blood pheasants came out there, and that color of theirs, I don't know whether you'd call it a fuchsia or a red, pink, whatever, but a blood color or whatever, but it looked so stunning against that white snow. And there were so many of them. I mean, I think I got about 5 of them in this frame together. But even if it had been just one, I mean, that color against the white snow, and I'd been dying to see these guys for a very long time, because even last time when we had gone in 2012 to the Everest base camp, on the way I was looking for these guys because I'd heard that you see them on this route. It was
Try करें थोड़ा आगे जाने
absolute treat to
I
see
don't need
them.
to go. If you
And
want to try going आगे, I've got enough on this.
wow, I mean, I could go on filming them and photographing them just because of that color and that striking contrast. By the way, on that 2012 trip to the Everest base camp, I didn't even see one. We did, I think the only thing we saw was the Tibetan snowcock, and I think I attribute that to the slow pace and not reaching tired at our destination for the day. So we went out again and explored, whereas last time we were so tired by the time we reached, because of the pace we were keeping, that there was hardly any further exploration.
See.
And this one is pretty close to where we saw the other, but it was such a treat again to, I mean, we couldn't believe our luck when we had more than one sighting of musk deer. I mean, I have never heard of people seeing so many. I mean, you get one glimpse of it moving through the bushes somewhere and things like that. I've seen those kind of videos, but anyway, even if the others have seen them, I felt blessed to have seen this. The national bird of Nepal, Damphe, or the Himalayan monarch, I think he was happy to see how much we were enjoying being in Nepal, so it gave us an absolute treat. I mean, I've seen Himalayan monarchs in India, but they are so shy. This one didn't seem to have any problem with us being so close, and gave us such a sighting in this light. My God, what a color! What a color! I mean, I could photograph this individual the whole day and not get tired of it. They are like, it's like the peacocks in India. You can't imagine why nature would make something evolve into these colors. I mean, it's like when I go scuba diving and see the fish. Same feeling. These squirrels, my God, it was so tough to film them. I mean, we saw them for about 5 minutes, but I got this 20-30 second video because they just refused to stop at any point. He just kept jumping around, running from one place to the other. And that orange, belly is just stunning actually.
This one how I can
The video doesn't do any
shoot
justice
with
to
my
that
phone.
color. They are lovely to see.
Wow, what a color.
And some of the best sightings you have are in houses or around houses because all these lovely birds come there for grain or leftovers. Back. It was also something like that. This Himalayan blue tail, I initially thought it was one of the other blue flycatchers, but after checking in the books, I figured it's not one of those. And I think it's the Himalayan blue tail. You can confirm that to me. That white patch on below the throat and that lovely eyebrow, that shine. It was. I was thrilled when I realized it was one of these. This is when on the way back, when we were coming back and then again approaching that forest checkpost, and this guy was actually right on the track, but just the pockets, it was snowing, and the pockets were all zipped up and stuff like that. So to get the phone out or the video camera out took some time, and this guy had by then moved up again. Guy or lady, I'm not sure. I think it's a lady. And but again, what a blessed sighting. Another musk deer. I'm not sure if this is the same species. You have 3 species in this national park. I think the previous one was the alpine, and maybe this might be the Himalayan. I'm not too sure, but beautiful, amazing to see them. This Indian fritillary, my God, thanks to it, I got a few, a nice video of a butterfly. Otherwise, the butterflies on this route they just refuse to sit. You see stunning colors flying past you in all directions, but they refuse to sit down. This one finally sat. These bees, I mean, I found them fascinating. I watched them for quite a while because they had these waves going through. I'm not sure why exactly they do that, but it was fascinating seeing those waves of they would all move but in a rhythm.
Yes.
The Verita flycatcher, one of my favorite birds. Its color is just so unique and so beautiful. And this one literally came out of the blue. So yeah, we were just about approaching our lunch halt for the day, and suddenly Asta noticed this, and it was, I mean, I just love these birds. Strangely, this time we didn't see as many wagtails. I remember seeing a lot more in 2012 on the EBC route. This time, yeah, we saw one other. I'm not sure, but we didn't see as many. This grey wagtail gave us a treat just before the end of the trek. So just before we were reaching Namche. I love moths. This moth in Monjo was fascinating too. Just incredible patterns. I mean, I can watch moths. You have to look close for moths. From far, they'll all look quite bland and drab. But when you get in close, wow. This I don't know is a spider or a tick or what, but Asta spotted it and named it the brain spider.
Now it is same size.
You had to look carefully, but there were a lot of ladybirds along the way. But you had to look; they were mostly under leaves and stuff like that. I have to confess, I'm not sure what this is called. I see them in Corbett too, but it's quite fascinating and ugly. Wobblers, I always leave up to the experts to identify. The little brown jobs is all what I call them. There were a lot of blue whistling thrush along the route. When you didn't see them, you heard them. Even this one woke me up in the morning. This was my morning alarm. Lovely call to be woken up with, though. I'm not sure. Grey-crested tit? I have no idea. There were a few mystery birds, like even this one. I still need some expert friend to ideate for me. The gold crest. I'm hoping this is the gold crest. I hope I've got the ID right. Maybe you can confirm it to me. With that yellow with the two black stripes one black stripe on either side. It's just fascinating on the forehead. I had never seen a gold crest before, so this was a lifer for me. And we saw it twice. Yeah, this was the second time. Once was while going up and once was while coming back from Gokyo. So I found it fascinating, that color on the forehead. Tibetan snowcocks. You heard them a lot more than you saw them. I mean, after this sighting, you realized we had been hearing them all along the way. This particular call, not so often. You did hear it, but not so often. It was this slightly shrill, like a whistle kind of sound, which you'll see later in this video. When we saw them making that call and realized you hear them a lot along the way, especially once you get higher. But they weren't so visible as I thought they would be. And obviously they are like this one. The sightings are more closer to where there are some houses and stuff like that. And that's the call you heard more often. White-capped water red start. I mean, that's what I know it as. Reminded me of Corbett because I see it so frequently there, and it just took me back to Corbett and we start missing it. This bird, I was so confused. I had no idea what it was. Gorgeous, but then I think it's the orange flag bush robin female. I am again not sure, but this is again for my friends to ID for me. Do let me know if you know what it is. Also this one. There's so many fascinating birds which I was just so happy to see. Even though I might not have recognized them, just seeing them was beautiful.
Very interesting.
Very interesting, but
you can confirm
it
this
doesn't
for me too.
from looking naked eye, it doesn't look that smaller.
Yeah.
But looks much bigger.
I found it fascinating. It was, and the strange thing was, it looks like a flycatcher, but it was bigger. The Khalij pheasant. I didn't expect to see it on this trip. This was the only sighting we had of it. And you see these much more in the jungles of the plains. This grosbeak was during the acclimatization walk above Namche Bazaar, and as a surprise, suddenly popped up next to me. I was filming those guys with this amazing vista, but this bird calling right next to my ear made sure I turned towards it, and I'm quite glad I did because it wasn't the usual. The birds that were making all these calls along the track. This was a different one, and I'm hoping I've got the ID right, that it's a cool tit, because I haven't seen that before either. in focus now, so maybe you guys can check it out and tell me if I've got it right. This is similar, the same as the earlier one. I had put it once before, I didn't realize that. The gray crested tit, this, I was actually looking and watching these guys when suddenly we had the first monal that we saw stepped out right in front of me. So I'm quite sure this is the Alpine Accenta, but because the way it's obviously a juvenile or something, there are a lot more markings. The Robin Accenta, which is also found, of course, is very plain compared to this. Especially the grey part is a very plain section. So yeah, and this guy got me out in minus 10 degrees and got me off my breakfast to come out and film it. Red-billed chugs. They were like what would you call them? Like the drongos of the mountains, chasing everything, especially the bigger birds, chasing them out of their territories, always up to some antics or the other. Yeah, but they were in large numbers. This brown dipper was the only sighting I had of it. I did see it a little bit in the water too. Couldn't get film of that. I'm just guessing this is a female of a rosefinch. I'm not sure. Got a short video of it in the snow while it was started to snow. At Lusa, this was a special treat. We hadn't seen many eagles, and suddenly I think it's the Indian spotted eagle at Lusa, and it was sitting right behind where we were staying, of course being harried by a crow. And I just love seeing eagles in flight. They just find it so fascinating and teach you so much about aeronautics. Just beautiful to watch them. And when this one was in flight, all the other birds on the ground, including the Tibetan snowcocks and all, were calling. Like, I'm sure those are what their alarm calls are. These are the predators of this area. Oh, look at that tail maneuver. Amazing. Asta pointing out, I thought we would see more lammergeiers, the bearded vulture, but this was pretty much one of the only sightings we had, and I got a little bit of a video of it. The Columbus water redstart. Again, some reminded me of Cobbett, but lovely to see it at Gokyo. Quite a few actually at Gokyo, next to the streams and the lake. It was lovely to see them. The Robin Accenta. Again, around Gokyo, there were quite a few. Right outside our window, next to the lake, next to the streams. It was great to see them, but I expected to see these at this altitude. Rose finches. Now again, something I will leave for my birding expert friends to ID for me. We saw 2-3 varieties, and I still need to sit down with the book and figure out which one is what. This was another one we saw while having breakfast at Gyeongjuma just before we were to leave. I think it was also having breakfast with us, being thrown down some grain by its lady love. I think it then finally joined her up there. Quite a poser, this one. I love that light pink color, not too bright and dark, just subtle. These ruddy shell ducks we saw on the way coming down from Gokyo was great. I mean, I was just filming them as a record, and then I saw this female doing this strange thing where almost pretending like she was drowning. And then I realized that I was witnessing a ruddy shell duck mating. This is great. Don't know how rare that is to see. But considering the altitude at which I witnessed this, I'm not sure too many people get to see this. He was thrilled now. Complete showboating after that. Yeah, baby. Rufus Sibia. Yeah, this was lovely. This was with lunch. We saw a lot of things while we were eating. This was at lunch before we then headed on towards Monjo. This was just short of Monjo, the Bayback Shrike at Dorsale. Again, just before reaching, these guys were quite plentiful along the track. Entire route, we kept coming across them, and their lovely calls, they kept fitting in the bushes and the crops right next to the trail. They were always nice, and you see them plentiful in India, in the hills too. Another tip that you can tell me which one this is, I'm not sure. I love that little crest it has. So, yeah, that should give a good hint. Again, wobblers for the experts to ID. I'm not even going to try. Another one. Not sure whether it's the same one, but yeah, similar. Beautiful. I love the knocking in the head. Yaks, I know they're domesticated, but there might be a few left in the higher areas that are still wild. But they're such magnificent creatures, and we see them along the way, all along this track. And just fascinating to see them, and they make you feel they're another era. Another butterfly that gave me the honor of sitting down finally and posing. It was so difficult. They were just flying all the time. Another moth at Monjo. Like I said, you get close to them, you realize what amazing patterns they have. And how can I end this video without a shot of Yeti? Hope you enjoyed this pretty rare collection. I haven't seen many of wildlife on the EBC route. Really, I mean, walk slow, save your breath, see a lot more.